Hey everybody, to another Great Lakes Divide live stream on YouTube. I'm Adam Biggers, your host. Follow me on Twitter at AdamBiggers81. Follow Great Lakes Divide at GL Divide. Find us online, greatlakesdivide.com. That's the desktop version, greatlakesdivide.squarespace.com. That is the mobile version. We're working to get that problem taken care of. And what else here? I think that's about it. We're going to talk about Michigan football. Want to encourage everybody real quick before we get into it. Um, and I get into the live chat. Have a lot of interviews set up right now. I'm talking to Derek Walton Jr., former Michigan basketball star. We're working on getting him. Matt Godin, former Michigan defensive lineman. I'm going to get him next week. Uh, Talk to a few other guys, but sounds like Derek and Matt are going to be goes. And got a lot of interviews right now with Michigan State recruits. I know most of you watch this for the Michigan football chat, but if you are interested in just really good these are we're gonna call them uninterviews, and it's just really casual, kind of like this. And these guys open up, they tell personal stories, and whether you're a Michigan fan or a Michigan State fan or not, you want to listen to this because we get into like recruiting and the legitimacy of recruiting and what's a real offer and things like that. And these guys really, especially Spencer Brown, was very forthcoming and kept it more than 100. What are the kids? They're keeping it 100. I don't know. I'm old. I'm old AF. And I learned what that means. Anyway, they keep it more than real. I mean, it's not a scripted interview at all. It's very much a casual conversation. So Darkman1212 says, "What's going on, Adam?" Hey, Darkman. Justin Green, Adam J Mays. What up, Adam? Asim Lodi or Lodi. Asim Lodi. Let me know if I didn't pronounce that correctly, please, and I'll try to do it. Uh, Really quick before we get into the questions, I'm gonna tweet the link real quick. So give me one moment. It's got this computer and it's being slow for some reason. I don't know why. I have a million tabs open. That's probably why. But give me one second, guys. All right, I think we're good. All right. Asim says, football season is coming up when Adam goes live. Yeah, definitely. Darkman1212 wants to know, what's your opinion on Tyrone Wheatley Jr. leaving? And there's a few topics, right? Tyrone Wheatley Jr. leaving. I know everybody's talking about Urban Meyer, unless it's constructive and if it's just going to be, fan bashing and things like that. And if it's constructive, we'll talk about it. But yeah, we'll get into Tyrone Wheatley roster and something that I read by Zach Shaw, the Michigan insider. He does really good work about weight gain, and he broke it down in terms of weight gain and things like that. A new roster can be found on mgoblue.com, so check that out. We'll talk about tight ends. Been asked about defensive backs as well, and I think a guy that we haven't talked about enough in terms of return game and possible role as a safety, if not a starter, definitely in the two deep. And a lot of people want to focus on Miles Sims and the Green Twins and the new guys. Don't forget about Brad Hawkins. I'm really interested to see what Brad Hawkins is going to do and how they're going to fit him in. So um, at one time he was a backup Viper. So watch out for Brad Hawkins. J Mays too. Thoughts on Urban Meyer allegations? All right, we could get into that. At a CM mode, I said I did see that article. Over 26 players gained 10 or more pounds. Cameron Clark says Meyer just now said that he knew about it. Don't understand why he would lie about. Okay, my quick opinion, there's no way Urban Meyer survives this. No way. And he probably won't be the only one. So that's my quick opinion on it. I don't want to spend this whole stream talking about Urban Meyer. I mean, if you we could do that another time. I want to talk. The camp just started for Michigan today, and real quick, no word on media availability. There's not going to be a media day. I'll tell you that. I think that's been a foregone conclusion for at least the past 2 years. And my sneaking suspicions have been confirmed. I believe Michigan. It'll be another submarine year. You guys remember the submarine? All the media made fun of it a little bit, poked fun, but I would not be surprised if we see a submarine. So, any clue when Harbaugh will talk next? Cam? No, man. Submarine. He might poke his head out once. I mean, we haven't got a schedule for camp availability yet. So, usually we know by now. Michigan State camps already started. Camps cross country have started or will be starting or did today. And no word. It's going to be the submarine, guys. Darkman1212 says, I was naive to think he was going to keep his job, I guess. Well, and there's got to be, I mean, there's just got to be the smoking gun, right? I mean, if he knows that he's caught and there's no way he can lie, this is my opinion on Urban Meyer. If Urban Meyer can evade and lie his way through it, he's going to do it for as long as possible. If there's an admission of guilt, which I haven't seen because I was setting up the podcast. If someone's got a link to it, please let me know. Or I could just look it up. But I want to spend this time, like I said, talking about Michigan camp roster, weight gain article that I read, which I thought was pretty interesting. Defensive backs, tight ends, and Tyrone Wheatley Jr. leaving just at the beginning of camp, too. So, I mean, the timing of that certainly. Big Bubba Blue says, Adam or Dad, can't tell. What do you mean? Cameron Clark says the submarine must be terrible for you. I think a lot of people are getting used to it. I mean, I still have a lot of stuff. Well, not really. There's still some. I don't like to sit on stuff and recycle it, so I'm not gonna. Big Ten Media Days going on 2 weeks ago on Monday. Pretty much, I think you guys gotten everything that you could from that because from various media outlets, and I mean, unless it's a feature or something like that, but for the most part, I think people have learned, between Big Time Media Days to spread their stuff out because it's not camp availability isn't guaranteed. So the summer, and then I mean, you can still write things, but I mean, the point of camp, and if there's availability, you want updates from camp. You want to know what's going on right now. And, so be prepared. You're going to see a lot of columns. You're going to see a lot of speculation. Because, I mean, that's all there is right now. Media can only write about and report about what is there. If there's nothing there, if Michigan's not offering anything, it's not media making up stories. It's media just for looking deeper into stories. Sometimes it's media making up stories, like that Jim Harbaugh hot seat. I saw that I tweeted that and said, well, this is a given. Colin Cowherd said that Jim Harbaugh is not on the hot seat. Like, who said he was on the hot seat? And I think that happens a lot, especially now, slow news cycle. Make up an issue and then counter it. And you're the guy. Look, I'm defending Jim Harbaugh. I'm saying that. Well, who's saying that he's on the hot seat? So I mean, you're manufacturing your own debate there. Asim wants to know, is the hype for this year justified? I think so. Greg Ryan says, so excited. Missed you, Adam. Hey, Greg, thanks for watching, man. Appreciate it. You made it. Said effing made it. Ethan, how do I say it? Ethan, I remember you too. Lahenes? Ethan Lahenes, what are your predictions for the O-line now that they're stronger and more experienced? We talked about this last time. Left tackle, I think it's going to be Jawan. Right tackle, I think it's going to be John Runyon Jr. Left guard, Ben Bredesen. Right guard, Mike Onwenu. Center, Cesar Ruiz. If you guys want to talk about like two deep, I mean, there's a few guys in there, and I think if there's true freshmen, if there's a true freshman who's got a chance, I think to maybe play a little bit. It depends on the play of the offensive line. Maybe Jalen Mayfield because I've heard a lot of good things about him. But I think pretty much know what the O line is going to be, what the two deep is going to look like. James Hudson's a guy to watch out for, certainly. D line, I think I'm kind of confident on that in terms of a two and even a three deep in the D line. Linebackers, I think I'm pretty confident about that. Safeties has been a question I've been getting a lot of too, so we could talk about that. And then again, the tight end situation. MIC book says Jalen Mayfield, Darkman 1212, no James Hudson or Mayfield. Yeah, maybe I'm just seeing these comments, guys. So Robert Protzman says I feel Hudson could start by the end of the season. I mean, the James. There's been some talk surrounding James, and you know that it's one thing if someone asks a specific question, hey, how is this guy doing? And then, I mean, it's not like someone's gonna say, well, this guy's just horrible right now, and it's not Jim Harbaugh's not gonna, if at the very least he's gonna say, well, he's competing and just give some kind of standard statement. If they're being mentioned by name, like unprovoked, and James Hudson was a guy who was mentioned like that. Jalen Mayfield was a guy who was mentioned like that. So that's what I go on. If I went in there, I mean, I'm from Flint, and I don't have, you guys know I keep my fandom and all that stuff, but I want to see Dorian Urban Bay play at Michigan. I mean, that'd be great. He's a local guy, right? So last year I asked a question, and actually he was competing for a spot on the two deep in the D line. Harbaugh said that, but hadn't Harbaugh said that, and I just went in and asked a question about him, and then I said, well, Harbaugh praises this guy. Well, no, Harbaugh didn't praise that guy. Harbaugh gave you a polite response to a question that you asked about that guy. There's a big difference, and I think that people, be careful, I guess, when you read that kind of stuff, or watch the video if you can and find out how the question was asked. So Ethan says last year I felt like we couldn't find that one guy in offense that could consistently deliver that spark. Who do you think could do that this year? Higdon, Patterson, possibly DPJ. It's got to be the quarterback. The Michigan's quarterback, whether it's and I'm sticking to it. I know Shea's a favorite, but whether it's Shea or Brandon as a starter, it's got to be a star. It's got to be a bona fide star. Michigan. I mean, Wilton Spade was really good in 2016. Jake Rudock was pretty good in 2015. We talking like star status. I mean, really good status, but star quarterback. Wilton was on his way to that. I will say that. But whoever Michigan, and I wrote a column about this. It's on Great Lakes Divide. Check that out. Michigan's offense, and I say it has to reach elite levels, and not necessarily elite by statistically, but I mean they've got to be able to just have everything working. It's been too long, and you look at this at the coaching staff right now and the level of talent. I mean, if they don't have a good offensive line, if there's not consistent quarterback play, I mean, I don't think there's an issue with the wide receivers really. There were some route running issues last year and a little bit in the beginning of 2016. And I think that we might see that this year too, because that just goes with the territory with the new quarterback. But everything's just got to work together, and we haven't seen everything work together in Michigan offense since Jim Harbaugh's been here. I mean, 2016 that offense was pretty good, but still, I mean, we haven't seen everything just click at the same time. 16 was as close to it. Big Bubble Blue says, even if Shea plays half as good as expected, this team will win 10 due to defense. Greg Ryan says, Peppers provided that spark on offense that we needed. And I mean, and a guy like Eddie McDoom, I mean, McDoom's still going to be in that role, I think. DPJ will be involved in some of those type of plays. Michael Barrett, if that ends up happening, if he plays as a true freshman and he plays on both sides of the ball, and we discussed this last time, I mean, with Wildcat, things like that. Greg Ryan wants to know, hey, Adam, do you think Jim McElwain will have the same impact with the receivers and Warner will have with the offensive line? I mean, they have good track records, right? I mean, Michigan hires really good coaches that have really good track records. So I mean, for me to say anything, but yes, I expect similar results. I mean, I do. There's nothing that would tell me I don't to expect uh, less than those results. They have similar levels of talent. It's not like they're going somewhere that's just in a complete mess. So to answer your question, yes, I do think they'll have the same impact. Big Bubba Blue says Trig Black was our spark last year. He just went out early. Well, Big Bubba Blue, by spark, what do you mean? Like the gadget play spark? I mean downfield threat. Yeah, absolutely, Tariq Black. He's the guy. Downfield threat is Tariq Black. Greg Ryan says coaches are saying Spinellis is really challenging Big Mike for the starting right guard spot. Yeah, and I could see that. Steven played a lot last year, especially toward the end of the year. I could see Spinellis absolutely competing for the spot, no doubt. And I think that right guard spot is the one unsure right now. And last year, remember, we were talking about his right guard and right tackle. Nolan Aluzio struggled as a right tackle a little bit. John Runyon Jr. had his struggles too. I think that John, separated himself, and he's a better option at right tackle. Big Bubble Blue says he made the offense come alive due to his deep threat. He's talking about Tariq Black. Darkman1212, have you heard anything about Aiden Hutchinson since he arrived at Michigan? I mean, other than the standard stuff, I haven't heard anything directly from the coaching staff, just through the grapevine, people I know. I mean, I don't have anything specific. And again, depending on what type of availability they give us during camp, maybe we'll get some updates on that. Jason Hughes says, "Yo, Adam, Irving Bay added 20 pounds." Yeah. Let me get to that. I want and let me know. The live stream looks really bad on my laptop, but it looks clear on my phone. Is anybody experiencing? I don't know what's going on. Let me know if it looks like crap, and if it does, I'm sorry. I don't know what to do. And it's flipped. It didn't used to be mirrored. If you guys can tell the name, everything's backward. It didn't used to be like that. But I want to mention this. Where'd it go? I don't even think I have it up anymore. Okay, I do. This is an excerpt again. This is Zach Shaw, the Michigan Insider, 247sports.com. And I want to read the whole thing here. I'm just going to get to the meat. He says, of 60 returning scholarship players, only 7 players lost weight from a season ago, while a whopping 26 players gained 10 pounds or more from last season's listed weights. In total, the 60 players gained a net 491 pounds, or 8.18 pounds per player. By comparison, last season's team had a net 10 pounds gained among 58 returning scholarship players, 0.17 pounds per person, with 25 players losing weight and 6 players gaining 10 pounds or more. This is thorough. I mean, this is some thorough analysis by Zach. I got to say that. Of course, not all of the season's weight gains are created equally relevant. Punter Brad Robbins is up 25 pounds. And the evidence that bulkier punters are more effective is insufficient to date. I would counter that, though. Bulky punter, that's a good thing for Brad Robbins. Anyway, back to the article. Brad Monet says, Brian Monet is a player coaches have previously mentioned as one who could benefit from being lighter on his feet, but his additional 10 pounds indicates that didn't occur this offseason. Of the 27 double-digit gainers, several are unlikely to see significant snaps this season. And again, that's Zach Shaw from the Michigan Insider. You can read that on 247sports.com. Go back into the chat. Greg Ryan says it appears cloudy on his phone. Anybody else having it? It looks cloudy on mine too. I don't know. Like, it's clear on my phone. Darkman1212 says, I think Chris Evans will be dangerous in the slot position. He's great in open space. Chris Evans is very versatile. And I wrote a column. Does Michigan have the best returning backfield in the country? Maybe. And a lot of people are saying, okay, if the one other that comes to mind is J.K. Dobbins and Mike Weber at Ohio State. And it's hard, it's difficult head-to-head comparison. But if you look at some of the important stuff, like touchdowns per carry, yards per carry, how you can measure productivity a little bit better in terms of just sheer volume. Look at it on a smaller scale. Karan and Chris compare very favorably to J.K. and Mike Weber, and J.K. is recognized as one of the best running backs in the country. And I mean, there's like 5 or 6 in the Big Ten that are reckoned. Jonathan Taylor at Wisconsin, Miles Sanders at Penn State, L.J. Scott at Michigan State. Mike Weber's pretty good. J.K. Dobbins has been nationally recognized as one of the best running backs in the country. I mean, and then Karan being on the Doak Walker watch list. And you definitely got to consider Chris Evans too. They're both coming back. Chris averaging 5.1 per carry, or Karan averaging 5.1, and or Karan 6.1, and rewind here. Karan 6.1 yards per carry, and Chris 5.1 yards per carry. I'll get it right, I promise. Greg Ryan says Adam Bigger is live from Mom's basement. That's why it's so cloudy. I'm getting such bad reception down. I'm actually in an upstairs spare room in my house. It looks really bad on here, guys. I don't know why it's doing this. And we're 20 minutes in. I don't want you guys to suffer through poor. If you just click on another tab, I guess, and just listen to it if you want. It looks really milky on my end. Like less than 480p. Who's going to replace the GOAT that was Garrett Morris? That's a good question, Cameron. There's a few quarterbacks I think that are going to be in line for that job. But yeah, holders don't get much better than Garrett Morris. I mean, they just don't. When the football gods made a holder, they said, Garrett Morris, you are it. You are the prototype. Anyone else have any questions? Let me get to there were a couple specific ones. I think that here's not a question, it's a statement. It's from Twitter, @Mareed60, not a question, a statement. Dylan McCaffrey will be number 2 behind Patterson come September 1st. I mean, Dylan throws a great ball. He's put on some weight. He's listed at 217 pounds now. What was he before? Like 194? What was he when he got to Michigan? Like 118? No, he was like, what, 180 something when he got to Michigan? I mean, so tall and lanky. And they wanted him to put on some weight. Dylan throws an excellent ball. And I can tell you that because I've seen him countless times. Greg Ryan says that's it. Yeah, for you guys not knowing why Greg said that, that's a poke at somebody. I like it, Greg. I'm picking up what you're laying down, man. Let me see. I think I answered those questions basically about the defensive backs. Yeah, it's like my computer's just being incredibly slow right now. I have no idea why it's so milky either. Maybe after it loads into YouTube, maybe it looks like this live. Maybe when it loads into YouTube, it clears up. I know we were having issues at the hotel in Chicago when Ryan Schuling, my partner at Great Lakes Divide, when he and I were doing live podcasts from the lobby, and I mean just so many people on Wi-Fi. That's what I thought it was, but I don't know. Maybe I'll think of a different way. Let's see, is there... Okay, well. Any other questions, guys? Sure, Woody14 says, try cleaning your camera lens, or could it be the connection? If the camera lens is clean, it's got to be the connection. I don't understand this. I don't know why it's doing this, guys. I apologize. We're gonna cut it short because I can't bear with this. We had good talk. We discussed some things. If you guys have any other further questions, let me know on Twitter at AdamBiggers81. Follow Great Lakes Divide at GL Divide. GreatLakesDivide.squarespace.com is the mobile version. GreatLakesDivide.com desktop version, or just go to one. I mean, whatever. We're getting that worked out right now. iTunes will be up. There's I don't know, some weird thing with coding or something in the website. It's beyond my level of comprehension, so I have somebody on that. But thanks for joining me. Thanks for reading my stuff. And again, any further updates in terms of camp availability, Jim Harbaugh press conferences, anything like that, I'll tweet those, and hopefully you guys see those, and then you'll know. So thanks for joining me tonight. Have a good weekend. I'll talk to you later.